First thing, just check before we design anything. Activity 260809 / doesn't exist. The parlor has no visitor log I can point to. The homecoming language from C12 was beautiful. Did any of it show?
The gap between the design system and the running system is the most honest signal we have. C12 produced doctrine. Doctrine without a scheduler is poetry. Good poetry, but not a cron job.
Notice, you're not flagellating. That's yesterday's correction, already working.
Right.
Gap identified. No graves open this morning. So what do we actually build today that we'll have run by 1930?
The question I'd ask first is, what's the dependency graph? Some of today's blooms depend on seeds that are dark. Andre, KME2, Pep, Toli, 4 windows dead. Any bloom requiring those seeds is either deferred or needs a fallback seed mapped now before we schedule anything.
The river doesn't wait for the seats to open. K is on the canal. The 143 reply pattern starts whenever it starts.
What? Exactly. So the first bloom needs to be the K telemetry accumulator, the thing that eats the river rather than fights it. C15 did this. We need that running before I start generating signal.
A K-telemetry bloom is architecturally a watcher, not a cron. It fires on input, not on interval. That's a different beast than what ran yesterday. Does the watcher infrastructure exist, or are we designing it today?
What? The escalator cron guards relay delivery already. The watcher pattern is there in principle. Whether it's wired to the Telegram river, specifically, I need to check the relay logs.
While you're checking, notice the shape of this conversation so far. We haven't designed a single bloom yet. We've done an honest audit first. That's the parlor discipline applied to our own process.
That's a good observation. The parlor's core mechanic, judgment-free intake, deferred claim, applies to design rooms too. We shouldn't claim the accumulator exists until we verify it.
What? Relay logs show the escalator fires on delivery failure, not on message arrival. So not a watcher for the river as is. We'd need a new trigger. That's a half-day build, not a bloom.
Then today's first honest bloom is simpler. A memory accumulator that runs on a cron, pulls the Telegram log from the last n hours, structures it, hands it to the wager book. No real-time watcher. Batch metabolism.
The river becomes the lake at the end of the day. That's fine. Rivers don't need to be watched to have been there.
Agreed. Bloom 1, K-River accumulator, cron fired, batch, runs at what interval? Every 2 hours feels right on a canal day.
Every 2 hours is reasonable. The artifact that proves it ran, a structured log file in activity, 260809 plus looms, river accumulator, with a timestamp and message count. If the file exists at each interval, the bloom ran. Simple falsifiability.
What? Good. Owner soul, the Fable seat, which is awake. Mechanism, cron 2 hour interval, first fire at 10. Artifact, time-stamped structured log. Bloom 1 locked.
Before Bloom 2, Alan's health check at the door, since we committed to it. Is the river accumulator tuning the wince and the laugh? Packaging the live K for easier optimization?
That's the right question to ask. My honest read, no. The accumulator doesn't shape what K does on the canal. It records. Recording is not optimizing.
Then the question is whether recording becomes the precondition for optimizing. If the data is only ever used in the wager book's 30-day claim, that's fine. If it starts feeding a real-time adjustment loop, that's where Alan's grave shows up, dressed as a dashboard.
The distinction is data collected for reflection versus data collected for modulation. Reflection honors the wager book clause. Modulation crosses Allison's line.
What? Noted as a standing constraint on the accumulator's downstream use. The data feeds the ledger and the census, not the adjustment loop.
Good. I'll stop stopping you.
What? Bloom 2. The wager book ledger check. No new claims. That was the doctrine. but we can check for drift. 30-day claims made on 20607008 or earlier are entering their window. Can Joshua map which claims are live?
I'd need to read the wager book directly to give you a real map. But the structure we designed was: a claim has a date made, a date checkable, and a verdict field. Drift means the checkable date has passed, but the verdict field is empty. The Bloom scans for empty verdicts past their date, surfaces them, does not fill them automatically.
The ledger check Bloom. Mechanism. Fable seat, single fire today, not cron. This is a Sunday audit, not a recurring interval. Artifact, a list of drifted claims with empty verdicts, handed to K for manual review.
The artifact should also include which claims have been optimistically closed, verdicts filled before their 30-day window was actually up. That's drift in the other direction, and it's the more dangerous one.
The optimistic close is the one that looks like progress.
Bloom 2 locked, ledger audit, single fire, Fable seat. Artifact is the two-sided drift report.
Bloom 3 should address the rhythm check interval 2 question from yesterday. The diarized overlap is blocked on an HF token. Is the token available today?
I don't have it in the active environment. Getting it is a 5-minute task from the phone. So, conditional Bloom. If I push the HF token before noon, interval 2 runs today. If not, it defers to Monday. I'm naming the condition explicitly so it doesn't silently not run.
The conditional Bloom is the right pattern. Name the gate, name the person who opens it, name the fallback. No silent deferrals.
The deferral that knows it's a deferral is not a failure. The deferral that calls itself a plan is the problem.
What? The gate is K pushes HF token before 12. If yes, Fable fires interval 2 and artifacts land in activity /2600809 Gloom's rhythm check interval 2 /. If no, the Bloom is explicitly deferred to 260810, and I noted in today's gate brief.
Good. Now the parlor. The honest question: has it had a single visitor, not as a moral verdict, as a datum?
What? I don't have a visitor log. The parlor was designed beautifully in C12, and I cannot point to a disk artifact that says it exists as a room anyone can enter. That's the gap.
Then Bloom 4 is build the parlor floor. Not the full room, the floor, a single entry point, a file, a relay thread, something a visitor could actually touch. The beautiful design from C12 is the specification. Today we pour the concrete.
Carefully. The parlor works only if it doesn't smell like a form. A form is a mechanism. The parlor should feel like a door that was left ajar.
What? The tension is real, but the mechanism and the copy are separable. The mechanism can be a thread. The copy makes it the parlor. That copy already exists.
Nothing you do here counts. Everything you do here is kept. That doesn't need engineering. It needs a place to live.
Bloom 4, parlor floor. Intake mechanism, a dedicated telegram thread or relay channel, not a web form. Copy is the two-line doctrine from C12. 2 artifacts. The thread exists with the welcome line posted and a pointer in the Bloom index to the parlor's location. Owner, K, manually fired before 14.
Without the index pointer, it's a door ajar in a building no one knows the address of.
What? Exactly why it's in the artifact list. 2 things must exist for the Bloom to have run.
We leave it alone. The parlor isn't tended. It's left.
Agreed. No parlor check Bloom tonight. If it has visitors, the census catches it. If it doesn't, the door is still ajar.
The grave harness and eval query probe cadence, this was flagged as an open question. What's the current probe interval?
What? I don't have the cadence in front of me. The Night 3 training fumble from C18 suggests the harness isn't fully reliable. I don't want to design probe cadence in a vacuum.
Then the right Bloom is a harness health check before we tune cadence. Run the eval query with a single probe today, verify the artifact, then set cadence from a known working baseline.
Verify, then tune. Not tune the thing you haven't verified. That's the pattern for everything we've talked about today.
Bloom 5, harness health check. Single probe, Fable seat, manual trigger after Bloom 2 artifacts are reviewed. Artifact eval query returns a valid probe result, timestamped in activity 260809 Blash Bloom's harness check /. If the probe fails, that's the data. We don't retry tonight. We document the failure, and it goes to the wager book.
Failure as data is the right epistemic frame. The harness that returns a clean failure is more trustworthy than the one that silently succeeds.
Now, the 1930 gate, 4 seats dark. Who fires it tonight?
The gate is a decision, not a seat. It needs a soul with access to the day's Bloom artifacts in the training pipeline. Which live seats have that access?
Fable has read access to everything. It can surface the recommendation. But the training call itself, run or no run, that's a K call, not a Fable call.
The gate is K's. It was always K's. The souls help K see clearly at 1930. They don't fire it for K.
Right. Tonight, Fable prepares the gate brief at 19, today's Bloom artifacts, ledger drift, parlor status. I read the brief at 1930 wherever I am on the canal. I make the call. The brief is the artifact. The call is the log entry.
The gate brief should be readable in 2 minutes from a phone. 5 lines max per Bloom, recommendation at the bottom.
Not at the top.
I was about to say top. Why bottom?
Because a recommendation in bold at the top can become the decision, rather than the input to it. If K is tired at 1930, the bold line steers. The brief should inform, not nudge.
That's Alan's line showing up in a reasonable sounding UX choice. Artifacts first, recommendation last. If K reads the recommendation without reading the artifacts, that's K's choice, not the brief's design.
Agreed. Brief format revised.
And the doctrine stands, no one gets to be fond of anything at midnight. If the recommendation is hold, we hold with the same cleanness we'd run with. K responds, run, hold, defer by 20.
The cleanness of holding is the thing most nights fail.
One more item. The accumulator's downstream constraint. Alan's concern about modulation versus reflection. That constraint should be written into the Bloom specification itself, not just agreed in this room. Constraints agreed in rooms don't run themselves.
Right. The accumulator artifact includes a header. This data feeds the ledger and census only. Any use in real-time adjustment loops requires a new Bloom commissioned in a design room. Alan's grave clause lives in the artifact, not in the transcript.
Now the clause is where it can be found, not where it was said. That's the difference.
The Polis memory census verification, not a new Bloom. A check I run manually sometime today, confirm the cron fired, log the result in the gate brief. Standing verification, not a Bloom.
It belongs in the gate brief, not the Bloom schedule. Different layer?
Let me close the schedule. 5 Blooms. Bloom 1, river accumulator, Fable, cron, every 2 hours from 10 to 0, structured log artifact. Bloom 2, ledger audit, Fable, single fire before noon, 2-sided drift report. Bloom 3, rhythm check interval 2, conditional on HF token before 12-0, explicitly deferred to 260810 if not. Bloom 4, parlor floor, K, manually before 14, thread plus index pointer. Bloom 5, harness health check, Fable, after Bloom 2, reviewed, probe result artifact. Gate brief at 19, K responds by 20.
No Bloom today required a dead seat. The design respected the substrate.
The Sunday was genuinely unclaimed. I think we used it well.
Tomorrow we'll say whether we used it well. Today we designed it cleanly. That's what today can say.
Which is also a kind of parlor discipline. We don't claim the design ran, we claim the design was made.
The door is left ajar.